Hello everybody, this is Tyler here once again from the Other Games channel, and a couple things to announce before I get into this review. Okay, I'm hearing lots of stopping noises upstairs. Ignore that. So, first day of December. Last month of 2022. Crazy that this year's almost over. Secondly, yes, I am in a different location this time instead of the usual common area that I'm at during my previous reviews, which, during the nighttime, the lights, kind of go on and off, as you've seen from previous reviews of mine. And, not really much else to say about anything else. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into what I'm going to be talking about today. So, back with another Goosebumps book review. Today I'm going to be reviewing book number 14 of the original series, and that would be The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. So, there we go. The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. Kind of similar to Welcome to Camp Nightmare and Haunted Mask, I did see the TV episode for this prior to reading the book, and just like those TV episodes, the TV episode for Werewolf of Fever Swamp was a two-parter. So, just to let you know on that. So, the book for Werewolf of Fever Swamp, it definitely, it definitely was just, or should I say the TV episode was very similar to the book because the book was made first. I didn't notice there's very many differences between the book and the TV show version of this as, compared to something like, I don't know, Welcome to the Dead House, which I didn't see the TV episode for Dead House before, reviewing the book like I have been with some of these, but I did, not too long ago, watch the TV episode for Welcome to the Dead House, and there were quite a lot of differences from there compared to the book. Anyways, getting off topic. What is the story of the Werewolf of Fever Swamp? Well, the story is about this kid named Grady, whose family moves from Vermont into Florida because his parents are doing some sort of experiments on deer, basically. Basically like swamp deer from South America, just to see how they'll survive in, North America, I guess. And throughout the portion of the book, every night there's a full moon, and Grady always hears howling noises, and it makes him assume that there's probably a werewolf somewhere around. And throughout the book there's been several speculations about who could possibly be the wolf that's in Fever Swamp that they're at. And one of the few things that has led to some speculation about who the wolf would be is this swamp hermit who lives in the middle of the swamp, away from civilization. Grady, as well as some friends that he made during the journey, Will and Cassie, I think are their names. They all believe that the hermit was a werewolf. And also, during the story, Grady finds this big dog who, takes a liking to him, and, he decides to name the dog Wolf. And the dog's, a lot bigger than a typical dog, basically, and while the dog was, around the family, every night there would be, at least one occurrence of, an animal being killed, whether it was a rabbit or something as serious as one of the deer that Grady's parents were using for their experiments. Which, of course, led to Grady's parents assuming that, hey, Wolf is the one who's, killing all these animals. He needs to, be put back to the pound or something. And I honestly should have mentioned this earlier in my review, that there were going to be spoilers here, so I will talk about what happens at the very end. So at the very last night of the month with the full moon, Grady, follows Wolf into the swamp, and he finally encounters the so-called Werewolf of Fever Swamp, and apparently, while looking at the wolf himself, he realizes that the werewolf was his friend Will. And Will, in his werewolf form, bit Grady, and Wolf eventually, saves Grady and, gets Will away, basically. And yeah, all seems to go well. There was no more Werewolf of Fever Swamp. Or was there? Yeah, so by the end of the book, it was purely revealed that since Will bit Grady, Grady became a werewolf himself, but apparently at the very end of the book he says he doesn't mind it, he actually likes it, so yeah, that was quite something. But yeah, Werewolf of Fever Swamp, definitely really enjoyed it. Don't really know if I have too much to say about this. It also, funny thing about Werewolf of Fever Swamp, and it's something that, like, I noticed a lot of Goosebumps books do, like Welcome to Dead House, for an example. And I think some other books I'm definitely gonna be reviewing later on, in the series. The parents are always like, don't believe in what their kids are saying, like, oh, you're just full of nonsense or something like that. It does kind of get annoying for a bit, but yeah, and this trope, later, is still in this book. But honestly, it doesn't bother me as much, especially compared to the TV episode. I feel like they kind of handled some of that stuff, I don't know, not as well. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen the TV episode, so I don't know what I can really say officially, but not much else to say about Werewolf Fever Swamp. Pretty solid book. The ending was definitely a plus. Definitely was quite a surprise, especially since, like, nobody, none of the characters in the book ever, like, made the assumption that, like, oh, the Werewolf of Fever Swamp just ended up being one of Grady's new friends. That kind of came out of nowhere, honestly. But yeah, pretty interesting. Love Werewolf Fever Swamp, and just for, those reasons alone, I'm just gonna give Werewolf Fever Swamp a score of a 9 out of 10. Really solid book. It's definitely, wouldn't call it the best Goosebumps book, but it's definitely up there with the greats like Welcome to Dead House, Night of the Living Dummy. It's close to being as good as Haunted the Mask, but I still personally think Haunted Mask is a little bit better. But yeah, Werewolf Fever Swamp, pretty enjoyable book. I like it. So with that being said, that's about it for this Goosebumps book review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned for whichever book I review next, and as well as other content coming on this channel. But with that being said, that's Tyler from the Other Games channel, signing out.